You know, in a generation of manga that Black Clover has come up in with the likes of, My Hero Academia, Black Clover, that ilk of series, a lot of times, most of the time actually, people attribute a lot of things that come from some sort of inspiration to Naruto. Black Clover especially, like, it got a ton of things that people constantly used to say, like, oh, it reminds me of Naruto, it reminds this of Naruto, that of Naruto. I've been included in saying those things, like, oh, this is homage to that one and that one when it comes to, the comparisons to Naruto. This chapter, 289 of Black Clover, 150% gave me major Bleach vibes. I mean, from the paneling to the giant uncondensed BANKAI, like, because that's what that was, fam. That was a Zanpakuto that wasn't being condensed down to a smaller size. Asta versus the fused Nama and Lilith. Fam, we've got to talk about it because it looks like Tabata was like, oh, word, we gotta step it up, we gotta get the character stronger. I bet, let me show you something. And now that there's no anime to be like, yo, this is gonna be ridiculous to animate, Tabata's like, alright, cool, we're gonna do some crazy stuff for the meantime. Without further ado, people, let's talk a little bit of that Black Clover greatness. I swear I was just waiting for Asta to say BANKAI. Like, I was waiting for it.
No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done.
So Black Clover chapter 289, it opens up with the death, seemingly, or the defeat of one of the devils of the highest order, Nama, which a lot of people pointed out that it looked as though he was basically, zapped of his mana, because remember, Asta hit him with an anti-magic sword, and Asta's anti-magic, it's going to be very effective. So a lot of people pointed out at the end of last week's chapter, however, with this one, he sliced straight through him like butter on some Zoraki Kenpachi. Yes, we're going to be doing the Bleach references this one, because this chapter, straight up, it felt like a Kubo tribute. From down to the way the paneling was done, the disregard for structure of like, oh, we got to do paneling a certain way. Like, no, Tabata in this chapter, he had a great time, I can tell, doing whatever he wanted to do. If he wanted to make a giant 2-panel freaking cross-page moon, he did it. If he wanted to make a giant sword, he did it. And I love that, because that was one of the things that gave Kubo back in the day, Tite Kubo, the creator of Bleach, his edge. The fact that he didn't care. He was going to draw shit that he found to be cool, and it worked. And I feel as though, like, the action in this chapter, yet again, we're getting back-to-back action of epicness, because that's what it felt like with this one, with, again, the defeat, opening up with chopping in half of one of the devils of the highest order, and Asta did the damn thing. But the other devil of the highest order, Lilith, says, while it's a shame, fam, like, yo, I can't believe they got you, which kind of contradicted or whatever. The way Lilith was talking was like, oh, it's a shame he got you first. Like, wasn't y'all just talking about, like, y'all were playing around? Which showcases, one, that they have no feelings whatsoever. Like, Lilith is having a grand old time, despite the fact that the twin sibling just got slashed in half, slaughtered down or whatever. But Lilith is like, ah, damn, that's a shame, but hey, at least we could play together now, because then following that, they decided to go, oh, Potara. They fused, no, not Potara, but they fused, the two demons fused, which right then and there, that's a whole other level. That's a whole other, like, what are we doing here? Because it was already like these two devils of the highest order. We saw what they did to Noct. They had Noct there, which we're going to talk about a funny line, I ain't gonna lie, that I found to be hilarious. It wasn't supposed to be hilarious. I found it hilarious in the chapter with Noct, but we saw what they did to Noct. We saw that they bodied the living crap out of him. So the fact that Asta took one out and then they fused them together, which it's not like, oh, it's two in one, like, it's kind of like the way it was described, in my opinion, was the way like fusion is described in Dragon Ball Z, where putting them two together are stronger than even if they were both separated working together. So yeah, this is a devil of the highest order, which again, I'm wondering what the strength comparison would be of them combined to somebody like, again, the highest upper echelon like Lucifero. And fam, that design yet again, Tabata, his devil designs are damn near supreme when it comes to designs I've ever seen of devils and demons, because their fused thing is like, they got horns coming from their face. I was just like, yo, this looks sick, and this is everything I would expect from Tabata. To be honest with you, if he didn't draw cool shit for these designs, I would be very disappointed, because when it comes to really cool looking designs, I have very high expectations for Tabata, because I know what this man is capable of, stemming years now, going back to 2012, 2013, which I always reference it. His first series, Hungry Joker, had very sick designs. So when I saw the fused Nama and Lilith, I was like, yeah, Tabata, doing what you're supposed to be doing. Shout outs to you. And they're still sadistic as ever, which again showcases, like, opposed to Lee, but Devil that obviously had some feelings. He obviously probably got a good chunk of them and learned what it was like to be human and have those feelings from Asta's mom, from Lucita. But nevertheless, opposed to him, again, you see that the fused Lilith and Nama, there's no regret, there's no anger, no sorrow. They, again, just having a great old time. Kind of reminds me, shit, I want to say it's Tokyo Ghoul, that there was these two twin siblings and one of them died and the other one just kind of fused the other one inside of their body or some shit like that. That's kind of the vibes that this gave me a little bit, except this one was an actual fusion, even though maybe like it was at the last bit of breath that Nama had. Lilith was like, yo, before you completely dead, let's fuse, baby. And here's where I was just mentioning the funny line, because Nocta's all of a sudden there like, yo, their magic, their mana is so massive, it might drive me insane. I don't know why I found that line to be so funny, but I'm just imagining Noct like holding his temples and just screaming, ah, they're magic. Again, I know it's no laughing matter at all, but the way he said it, it just kind of like felt very, not exaggerated, because again, hey, end of the world is here. These devils, you know, they're of the highest order. They took Noct out like he was butter, and he's a vice captain to the Black Bulls, but it was still funny the way it was said. And shout outs to Asta. This was a badass moment for Asta. Like, not really intentionally in a way. He's just like, well, I can't sense magic anyway, so like, cool beans, fam. It's nothing to me. No hair off my back. I love that. That's one of the things that's always been, obviously, because he has no mana, he has no magical capabilities, he's never sensed mana or anything like that. So to him, it's just like, you look creepy. Like, whatevs. Still gonna kick your ass. Like, Asta's just a beast. I love Asta. And here's where the battle started to get a little bit, for me anyway, reminiscent of the Julius versus Patri battle, because the fused Lilith and Nama, what are we gonna call them? Nalith? Why not? Let's call him Nalith. But the fused devil basically creates like what appears to be like a giant moon of mana, damn near like, I don't even know, like a spirit bomb, but a moon looking thing, and basically is launching it at Asta and says, even if you're unharmed, everyone around will die, because it's just a giant ball of mana. And that was very reminiscent, for me anyway, of when Patri had all the swords over the Clover Kingdom and told Julius like, yeah, I'm sure you could evade them, but is everybody on the ground gonna be able to evade them? That was one of the things, except here's the difference, and here's what's showcasing again. Asta is the future. Julius, as epic as he was, is kind of the past, because Asta still manages to do the damn thing without having anybody hurt. You could argue with different circumstances, like that was 100 billion different little swords, and this is one giant object, even though this giant object, this giant ball of mana, is very freaking strong. And then Asta talking more smack, saying, all you did is get bigger. Well, I got bigger too. And I was like, pause on that, Asta. What are you saying? But it's stuff like that that really just, I love the trash talk a little bit. Like, I love stuff like that, especially coming from Asta, that, you know, he's always been the underdog. To see him in the pits of like, you're fighting somebody really, this creature is immensely strong, and you're still talking smack like, you bigger, I don't care. Like, it's a part of his character trait that I love, and to see it shine even now is dope. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't expect him to be trash talking like once we get to, again, the higher ups, Lucifero and things like that, but for right now, considering they're the highest order of the first level of the Devil World, yeah, it makes sense. And then Asta pulls out the first sword, Demon Slayer, and I'll be honest with you, it straight up felt like these last few pages altogether felt like some Bleach shit, like the giant moon going across pages, and then the giant freaking sword, Asta swinging the Demon Slayer, and it looked like it was the size of a skyscraper. It reminds me of very early on in Bleach when they were talking about the Zanpakutos, and basically how they would be the size of skyscrapers if they didn't condense them down to the size of normal swords. That's kind of what it reminded me of, like Asta having an uncompressed Zanpakuto, this Demon Slayer, when he's striking against the moon. And it started to feel like, to be honest with you, this is one of the first times in the Black Clover manga that I felt like, you know, this feels almost like a Dragon Ball Z level of a battle, like this giant ki blast feeling, you know, this mana ball, it looked like a giant ki blast, and then you got this giant sword, like, it reminded me of like a Bleach Dragon Ball Z-esque type of moment. For the most part, it was really Bleach though, like, it really reminded me of like when Kubo would just not give a shit, do what he wanted to do, and I rock with that. I love artists being able to do their work without feeling like, I got these restraints and things like that, and that's probably a lot attributed to the fact that Tabata don't gotta worry about an anime anymore. anymore. He don't got to worry about, well, how they're going to be able, and is this going to be like, no, just let me draw cool shit. And then one of the biggest things that a lot of people were like, holy cow, Tabata finally remembered, because we see a dialogue box that says just how big you gonna get, and I was like, pause on that too. But we see seemingly Magna and Zora there. They got like some cloaks on, which about freaking time, Tabata, about time you brought them back. They're, I don't know, possibly like in a forest or something. If you've seen the last episode of the anime, it kind of hinted at this exact moment of them being with cloaks in what looks like appears to be a forest anyway. They're looking there at Asta fighting against the devil of the highest order, the fused devil, and Asta slashing the moon, and the chapter ends, or not the moon, but you know, the moon-shaped ball of mana. Honestly, this chapter, very simplistic, very, very simple, but I liked it. I like the badassery. I like that. Once again, for the final time, I gotta say, it gave me very reminiscent vibes of Bleach. Really awesome stuff. Big swords, big blasts, and I rock with that. Sometimes that's all you need. It's a really epic, like, fight. That's all. Sometimes that's it. And it delivered. But I'm very curious what you guys think. For starters, you think that's going to be it for the fused devil of Lilith and Nama? You think there's going to be more to them? What do you think is going to happen with Magna and Zora? What do you think they're going to be doing? I'm curious to see what their strength is like. Because remember, Magna got kicked out of the Heart Kingdom, basically. Or he left because he wasn't strong enough to be able to do what Luck and them was doing. I'm curious to see, like, maybe him and Zora created contracts with devils themselves. That would be sick. So what do you think is going to happen there? And how do you feel about the Demon Slayer sword looking like the size of a skyscraper? Did it remind you of that feel you would get from Bleach? And your overall thoughts and expectations for Black Clover chapter 290 and beyond. That's crazy. We're 11 chapters shy of the big 300. Yo, shout outs to Black Clover, shout outs to Asta, and of course shout outs to Yuki Tabata, drawing really epic stuff. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life. Bye. Have an awesome day. Peace in, and yo, I'm happy Magna and Zora are back into the picture. Let's go. Giant Zanpakuto looking swords, Demon Slayer, fused demons, like Black Clover, Yuki Tabata, keep doing it up, keep bringing the heat.